Not getting the sleep that you need has huge consequences on your physical and mental health. Today, you're going to learn how to use tapping and some other helpful techniques to help you get that restful night's sleep. To lead the way, we are speaking to an extraordinary man, Dr. Dawson Church. Let me tell you a little bit about Dawson. He is an award-winning science writer with 3 best-selling books, The Genie in Your Genes, Mind to Matter, and The Bliss Brain. Dawson has conducted dozens of clinical trials and founded the National Institute for Integrative Healthcare to promote groundbreaking new treatments. Dawson shares how to apply these health and performance breakthroughs at EFTuniverse.com. That's one of the largest alternative medicine sites on the web. You can also find some amazing programs there, including The Science of Overcoming Insomnia. I'm happy he's here to talk about this big challenge. Dawson, welcome.
I am so thrilled to be here, Jessica. I'm so thrilled everyone's here today. And we're going to not just have a really insightful time together, we're going to do some techniques that'll help you with anything that affects your sleep quality. So I'm delighted to be sharing today.
This is the one interview that I know if I yawn through it, you won't be offended. So, Dawson, when it comes to sleep challenges, they're not all the same. Can you talk about the different common sleep challenges that people struggle with that tapping can help?
Yeah, and I've done a number of clinical trials on insomnia, and so we measure insomnia on an index, a scale from 0 to 10, but that masks a really disparate variety of problems. And so what are the kinds of problems people have that are in that general category of insomnia? One of the most common ones is trouble falling asleep. Once you're asleep, that's fine. But many people lie down, they find themselves tossing and turning, their minds are restless, they can't settle down and drop into sleep, sometimes for a long time, sometimes for more than an hour. So that's one common category. Another common category is problem with the quality of your sleep. Maybe you sleep 8-9 hours a night, but you don't feel refreshed when you wake up in the morning, and you are uncomfortable, you move around a lot, so sleep quality is impaired. Another one is you maybe go to bed on time, you have a plan for your sleep, you know how much sleep you need, but then you find yourself waking up much earlier than you'd planned, and you try to sleep later, but you can't get back to sleep. Also, waking up in the middle of the night. Most of us experience this sometimes, that you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep. You try and get back to sleep, you can't. Sometimes you lie awake for hours and hours and hours. Now you've used a large part of your sleep window for being awake. So you've defeated the whole process of being there in bed. And then often when people wake up in the morning and they haven't had a good night's sleep, they feel groggy. They don't feel like meeting the day. They don't feel as though they have the resource of a good night's sleep to meet their responsibilities and their lives. And so not feeling refreshed when you wake up in the morning is a big problem. And the final one that's most common, according to research, is nightmares. Dreams that disturb you, and sometimes recurring dreams, sometimes violent dreams, and those wake you up and then you aren't able to settle back to sleep. So those are some of the many problems that we lump together in this global issue of insomnia.
Tell us a bit about the science that exists about insomnia.
It is really interesting, and some of it's really counterintuitive, Jessica. Like, one of the things I've been told by doctors, and all of us have been advised by the media and coaches, is you need 8 hours sleep. And so this is just like a fundamental assumption and fundamental standard that we talk to people about and we expect of ourselves. You need 8 hours sleep. But studies show that's just not true. The amount of sleep people need varies really widely. Some people need more than 8 hours. Some people need 9 hours or even 9.5 hours of sleep to function at optimal. Other people, if they get 8 hours, they don't function that well. For some people, the magic number is 6.5 hours. Now think about those two numbers. 6.5 hours is optimal for some people. 9.5 hours is optimal for other people. That's a really wide range. So you need to find out how you work. The average amount of stuff isn't good for the average person. I'm 6'4". The average shirt would not fit me. The average shoes don't fit me, and the average shoes and shirt wouldn't fit you. So find out what you need. And a large Dutch study found that the average optimal tends to be a little under 8 hours. It's more like 7.5 hours for the largest number of people. Again, some more, some less. But if you're sleeping less than 8 hours, don't think that you're wrecking your health, because research shows it's not that way. Also, when you don't sleep, what happens? So research
Dawson,
shows
let me
that...
interrupt you for one quick second, because I want to get clear on that. When you say find out what works for you, do you mean to say just notice? Instead of just going by the research, begin to notice what feels optimal? Is that how you figure out what's best for you?
One way you can notice what's best for you is to keep a sleep journal of some kind. And so when you wake up in the morning, just notice how much sleep you got and make a note of that. Another one that's really easy now is to measure that on your phone, on your wrist-held device. Like if you have a watch, most new watches come with sleep trackers. You can use a sleep tracking device like an Oura Ring. There are all kinds of ways of tracking sleep and sleep quality. So when you have an ideal night's sleep and you wake up feeling fantastic, how long did you sleep? How often did you wake up during the night? How restless were you during the night? So start to learn your own biology there. Don't accept the averages, because again, if you do, you'll wind up wearing a shirt that's much too small for you, or shoes that are much too tight, or vice versa. So make a note of your sleep patterns and then find out what your ideal pattern is. Again, one study found that people who aren't sleeping well have a shortened life expectancy of 12%. Really major shift in life expectancy if they weren't sleeping well. Car accidents, lack of sleep is associated with car accidents. Mental health disorders, people who aren't sleeping well have much higher rates of anxiety and depression. Physical diseases, this is a pretty depressing list, so maybe we'll just tap while we go through it. Just tap along with me. These are the diseases associated with insomnia, okay? Obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, inflammation, general inflammation throughout the body, pain, seizures, asthma, strokes. Now, I wanted you to tap there because I've taught a class on insomnia a lot. When I start listing all of these problems, Jessica, people get upset. So
no, that's a really good point, where the reason we're listing these is to give you motivation. Sometimes when you hear how dire the problem is, because we get so busy that we think, oh, I'll figure out my sleep later, or I just, life gets so busy. But when we hear about obesity and about the death rate, it can stop us in our track and say, you know what, I'm actually going to spend time listening to the summit. I'm going to really commit to doing these things. It's to support us, not to manifest, to create that in our lives. So I like that you're tapping, because stressing about the amount of sleep you get does not help. Stressing about what could happen doesn't help, but being aware and using it to empower you can.
Absolutely. Motivating yourself with this. And then I'm going to show you in a moment the research on EFT and how it dramatically transforms sleep. So if this is depressing, just wait till the next part.
The light is coming. All right, let's go.
So to get through the bad news, just the last few bits of it.
Okay.
In laboratory mice, cancer grows twice as fast in mice who are sleep deprived.
Oof.
So decreased immune function, increased cancer growth, low energy levels, high cortisol, which affects mood, thinking, energy, and our brain's ability to learn drops by 40% when we're sleep deprived. Poor emotion regulation. Your amygdala, your brain's fire alarm that sends the fight or flight signal through your body, that becomes 60% more reactive when you've slept poorly or too little. So all of these things are contributing to our lack of well-being, and that's why it's critical that we follow through, we learn EFT, we learn to reduce our stress, we learn to meditate, we learn to do all the things that contribute to great sleep. So those are all the reasons why it's important to have these facts and to pay attention and to really focus on getting the best possible sleep.
Wonderful. Okay. Give us the good stuff. Give us the research. Give us the tapping. What hope do we have with tapping?
I've done many studies with veterans Iraq War veterans, Vietnam War veterans, some older Korean War veterans, and what we found is that sleep is one of the first things that improves. And in one randomized controlled trial I did with 59 veterans, mostly veterans of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, we found a dramatic improvement in sleep in 3 sessions, a normalization of sleep in 6 sessions. So they came into the trial with high levels of insomnia. By 3 sessions, they were much better. By 6 sessions, they were fine. And one of them said, this is just this message that we got from one of them was just remarkable. He came in for his second session with his therapist, who's a wonderful psychologist called Linda Jaranilla. And he came in for his second session after he learned tapping in his first session. And he said to Linda, after that first session with you, I got my first full night's sleep since Vietnam.
Wow.
Now think about that, 40 plus years of clinical insomnia, not sleeping one night. And after tapping the first session, he got his first full night's sleep since Vietnam. So tapping is that powerful.
Let me ask you a quick question, Dawson. So when it comes to tapping, we're going to do some tapping for sleep today. But if someone's listening to another interview in the summit, say they're doing something on, they're just listening to something else that's not related to sleep. Do you find that tapping on an emotion and feeling that release impacts your sleep, even if you're not directly focused on sleep?
Yes, because these veterans weren't focused on sleep. They were focused on trauma. They were bringing in lists of traumatic events from their childhood, from their combat time, and they were ranking those events on a scale of 0 to 10. So they talk about the mortar attack in Vietnam. They talk about the roadside bomb in Afghanistan, and they would describe these events. They'd score them 0 through 10. We tap on them on several events, usually during one session, and then spontaneously their insomnia is getting better because their cortisol is going down and their amygdala is regulated. Their emotions are no longer so hyper. All the symptoms of PTSD, like hypervigilance, like focus on the bad stuff, on the negative stuff around them, all of those symptoms are dropping, and the result of that lowered stress is better sleep.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And that's also helpful to know that we're going to be doing tapping here specifically on sleep, but doing all of the other work, regulating, releasing stress, all of that is helping with sleep. Absolutely,
yeah. So we focus on all of our stressors. We focus on all the events in our lives that have had led us to dysregulated sleep and high stress. And better sleep is a byproduct of that. Now, you can also tap directly for sleep. Like people will tap, for example, when they're going to sleep. I usually tap myself late in the day and just release all the stuff that's gone on in the day. I know I've had a very intense day, and then I'll usually tap at the end of the day, just let it all go. Just some general tapping rounds to release it all. In the morning I wake up, I usually tap first thing in the morning because I don't want to get into the thinking of the structure of the day, all the events I have planned for the day. I'm going to stay in that sleepy, partially awake mode for a little while so I can meditate there. And tapping helps me release any tendency to dash into activity so I can spend a while in that meditative state. So you can tap directly on things to do with sleep quality. When you're awake in the middle of the night, for example, you can tap and you might find that settles you down. Also, mental tapping is great. Like when I wake up in the middle of the night, I find that if I tap on myself directly, it's a little too stimulating. So I'll do mental tapping, and they'll calm me down. So at any of
And what
those
about
places you can
pressing and
use
holding?
touch and breathe. You can use touch and breathe as well. That's just taking a breath while you put pressure on a point. And you'll find this, the instructions for touch and breathe are in the EFT manual, along with using EFT for insomnia.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to mention about the research before we move on to an experience?
Just that there are many trials of EFT, clinical trials that include a measure of insomnia. And so we've seen now that it works in many groups besides veterans. And the effects are remarkable. Usually people who are stressed have high levels of insomnia. Once they learn tapping, they have much lower levels of insomnia. And the other thing to think about here is that we are interwoven human beings. Like in the 1970s, medicine began to talk about the body-mind connection. Well, we're far more than just an interconnected body and mind. We are multidimensional beings, and so we live in information fields. Our brains are much more like transducers of information from global information fields than they are as originators of consciousness. So we're downloading information from all kinds of other sources. Even our human energy fields extend a long way from our body. When we interact with other people, they interact, our energy fields interact. And so we're in this energy environment. And so when you reduce your stress, when you're much more peaceful, when you're feeling much more fulfilled, when your whole life is far less stressful, then all kinds of other benefits ensue. So insomnia is a symptom. It's not actually the problem. And you want to go as deep as possible and go as global as possible with your well-being. Insomnia clears up. Another thing that clears up for these veterans is sexual dysfunction. A lot of them have sexual problems, and so those tend to just go away spontaneously. Did we focus on them? No. They just cleared up automatically. A lot of the veterans had digestive problems. They're popping digestive aids. They have acid reflux, all kinds of digestive problems. Those go away. Well, did we focus on those? Didn't focus on those either. If you reduce stress, everything tends to balance out and get better. So that's the thing to focus on. Use EFT on what stresses you most, and insomnia is a byproduct of the improvement.
Yes, I want to highlight that. Insomnia is not the problem, it's the symptom. That's profound knowledge. So with that, we're going to have an experience. We're going to have a few experiences. The first one is a process that you've created that incorporates tapping, different than the traditional EFT, but tell us a little bit about eco meditation.
It's so funny, Jessica. I was at a conference in 2009, and there were all these great people there with different methods. So I was there with EFT, and we had Joe Dispenza there. We had Roland McCready from HeartMath there. And so as I'd meet these various authors and talk about their work, we were saying how great HeartMath was and how effective mindfulness was and how good self-hypnosis was and neurofeedback, biofeedback. And I thought one day, I wonder what would happen if we put them all together. We know they all work individually, but I remember being a little kid and being like 6 years old and being led by my grandmother by the hand into an ice cream store. And then there were all these different ice creams, like, 29 different flavors there. And she said, now choose one. Like,
I can't ever choose one, ever.
I know.
I can't, don't give me one ice cream option. Not happy. I'm with you.
No. And so I thought, in that conference in 2009, I thought, how about if I choose all of them? How about if we choose every single flavor? What if we stack these things together? What if we stack quick coherence technique from HeartMath on top of tapping, and then we stack mindfulness, and then biofeedback and neurofeedback, and self-hypnosis, and all of those things together? Would we explode?
We'd fall asleep is what happens, is you fall asleep.
What happened was really interesting. So I began doing this myself, and it felt really powerful because suddenly I could meditate easily. And up to that point, it had been really hard for me to meditate. I learned to meditate when I was a teenager, but you close your eyes, you try and still your mind. Of course, your mind isn't still in the least, and your mind is highly active. You can't really get into a peaceful place. What I found with this stack was you got the benefits of all of them together. So it takes about 5 minutes to do them all, and we'll do them all as part of this routine. Also, do this when you wake up in the morning or when you go to bed at night, and you really regulate your body. We're now showing that this kind of stack, we call the stack eco meditation, ECO meditation. So we stack these 5 things together, and you get super relaxed, but you're also pretty alert. So you aren't like zoned out. You're in this deeply relaxed state, and you haven't had to still your mind, you haven't had to chant a mantra, you haven't had to have any kind of spiritual education or belief, and it gets people to the state. In fact, one researcher studying it said that after the first session, she saw the same brainwave activity in the brains of people doing eco-meditation as she saw in the brains of advanced 10,000-hour meditators. The first try. So it really gets you there fast.
I'd love to have an experience with everyone else. And obviously, if you're driving, don't do this. Give yourself some time to have this experience. If you're listening to this in the car or while you're cleaning the house and if you can stop, please stop and have the experience. If not, just come back to us, or if you own this, just fast forward this. You can come back to this moment anytime you need to.
Yeah, so to begin with, just settle yourself quietly wherever you are. So find the most comfortable position where you are right now. And if you want to go to another room in the house or go to another place that's special to you and make yourself comfortable there, do that. And then you'll keep your eyes open for the first part because we'll tap. Okay. And for those who don't know where the points are, it's just handy to do this with your eyes open to start with. So we'll begin by tapping on the points and just without words, tuning into the body, noticing stress held in the body. Now, why is this important? It's important because we tend to hold stress in the same place all our lives. And even though we have different things that stress us out, and even though we have different life periods, we may be 20, we may be 70, we may be anywhere in between, people tend to hold their stress in the same locations in their body. So keep your eyes open, and without words, you'll focus on where you tend to hold stress. Is it in your throat, in your forehead, back of your neck, tension in your shoulders, your back, belly? So tap with me now on the side of hand point and just scan your body top to bottom. Notice any places where you're holding tension and let them go. Where is it you personally hold tension? And let that go. Notice your breathing. Notice your breath flowing in and out. And now tap on the top of your head. It's your governing meridian. And as you tap on the top of your head, again, scan your body top to bottom. Notice any tension and release. Notice your breathing. And now tap where your eyebrow meets the bridge of your nose. That's your bladder meridian. And again, notice any place in your body holding tension. Notice your breathing. Tap on the side of your eye, your gallbladder meridian. Notice the breath flowing in and out. Tap under your eye, under the pupil of your eye. Again, noticing your breathing. And see if there are any pockets of tension held in your body. Maybe tiny ones you haven't been aware of before. Let those pockets of tension go. Tap under your nose. Noticing your breathing. Tap on your chin. And just scan your whole body, your head, your shoulders, neck, chest, belly, pelvis, legs, letting all the rest of the tension leave your body. As you tap your central meridian, and then tap on your kidney meridian, right below your collarbone where it meets your breastbone. Every last little bit of tension leaves your body now. Feeling your breath, tapping under your arm, about 4 inches below the armpit. Then one last point, tap on the small intestine meridian one more time, side of hand. Notice your breathing. And notice how even this short round of tapping without words, focusing only on the body and on the breath, helps you relax. Stop tapping, relax your hands, close your eyes, focus on your breath again. And imagine your breath flowing in and out through your heart, through the center of your chest. And as you breathe in and out through your heart, slow your breathing down to 6 seconds per in-breath and 6 seconds per out-breath. And keep on breathing in and out through your heart, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And relax your tongue on the floor of your mouth. Notice any tension in your tongue. And relax it completely. As you breathe in and out through your heart, 6 seconds. And now notice the volume of space inside your feet. Notice the volume of space inside your legs. Notice the volume of space inside your hips, your pelvis, your abdomen. Notice the volume of space inside your belly, inside your back, inside your chest, inside your torso. Notice the volume of space inside your hands and arms, inside your shoulders and neck, inside your head, and inside your whole body. Notice how relaxed your tongue is on the floor of your mouth. Notice your breath in and out through your heart. 6 seconds in. And 6 seconds out. And notice the energy of life in all the cells of your body. And imagine life energy pouring in through the top of your head, energizing your cells, filling you with that life energy. That life energy awakens all your energy centers, especially your heart center. As you breathe in and out 6 seconds through your heart. Now think of a being who loves you unconditionally. It could be a guardian angel, a saint, a master, a guide, an archetype, but this being has unconditional love for you. It could be an animal or pet. This is a being that holds you in unconditional love. And feel a beam of energy connecting you now, running from your heart to this being of unconditional love. Feel the unconditional love flowing from your heart to this being. And notice that beam of connection between you and this being of unconditional love. Notice the color of this energy beam. Notice the shape and texture of this energy beam. Notice any other characteristics of your heart energy beam. as it connects you with this being of unconditional love. Notice how good your body feels to tune in to unconditional love. Notice the breath flowing in and out 6 seconds through your heart. Notice your tongue relaxed on the floor of your mouth. Notice the space, the volume of space between your eyes. Notice life energy pouring in through the top of your head, filling you with life, illuminating every cell in your body with life energy. Notice how relaxed your tongue is on the floor of your mouth. Notice the infinite space between your eyes. Notice your breath flowing in and out through your heart. And this beam of energy connecting you with this being of unconditional love. And now gently detach your heart energy beam from that being and bring it all the way back inside your own heart. And smile with gratitude at the privilege of being filled with unconditional love and all these good feelings. All these wonderful feelings in your body of connection. And as you feel these wonderful feelings in your body of connection, of balance, of attunement, of gratitude, as you smile with joy and appreciation, cross your hands over your heart and tap gently with the fingertips of the hand nearest the skin on your heart area. And anchor in these feelings and know that anytime you want to, you can tune in to this source of unconditional love. You can tap away your stress. You can release anything and everything that keeps you from a good night's sleep. You can let go of all the pressures and distractions and worries of the day. And now reverse your hands, tap with the fingertips of the other hand. And know that any time you can tune in, feel your body, feel the love, feel this good inside your body, release your stress, balance your body for optimal function in every way. And that this feeling in your body is what being unstressed feels like. And you can go there anytime you choose. Stop tapping, relax your hands. And with the next 3 breaths, prepare to return your attention back to the here and now, back to your environment, back to the world around you, and notice the volume of space inside your body. Notice the volume of space inside your feet. And through your feet, ground yourself all the way down into the center of the earth. Grounding your energy to align with the earth, to connect with the earth, to draw strength from the earth, and to live a grounded life. In which you're both able to feel and be unconditional love, and also be effective and grounded as a human being on the planet. And with the next breath, open your eyes, look around you, look all the way around, and keep your eyes soft and your gaze unfocused, and notice any glass objects in the room with you. Notice the largest brown object visible from where you are right now. Notice if there are any number 7s visible from where you are now. Are there any instances of the numeral 7 you can see right now? Just welcome yourself back into your body with another breath, and feel how good it feels just to take that time to connect with the all that is, connect with your body, connect with unconditional love, and know that you produced all these positive feelings in your body just with your awareness, with your consciousness. And that's the power of our awareness to shift physical, emotional, and mental functioning.
Oh, excuse me. Sneeze came. Dawson, I'm happy you brought us back because I left this interview. I don't know what everybody else was doing, but I left, and that was so wonderful. Thank you so much. I love that you incorporated the tapping to just settle into our body. And this is what I love about the tapping, is that it works so beautifully with other things as well. It almost makes other modalities even easier because we have that initial relaxation. This is something that people can come back to again and again. They can mark the spot and just start it at the beginning and have this full experience before falling asleep. If you didn't take me out of it, I feel like I could have fallen asleep in my chair. But this is wonderful, and I can see the benefits of doing this before bed, but also in the morning. Because
Absolutely.
It's not just about sleep, it's about a certain state.
Yes. Yeah, and so you do get way out there, and then that's wonderful to do that because research shows that if you connect with the all that is, if you're able to move into those transcendent states of mind, that all kinds of powerful things happen in your body. You become much more emotionally and mentally stable, and over time, things like brain function start to improve. We showed in one clinical trial, one randomized controlled trial, that doing this for 30 days produced a permanent anatomical change in your brain. And the part of the brain that is obsessed with suffering and my life, my worries, my future, my past, all of these things that make people crazy, that part of the brain dialed way down in function. And the part of the brain that had to do with gratitude and awe and joy and compassion dialed way up. And that was the ongoing state of those people after just a month of this, even when they weren't meditating. So it starts to affect your whole life as well as your sleep.
Yes. Oh, that was such a beautiful experience. Thank you for that. And you gave us a real gift, because again, we can come back to that again and again. So you showed us how tapping can be used in a beautiful way with this process. We have a little time left. Again, earlier on, we talked about how even tapping that's not related to sleep is going to help us sleep. So the rest of the summit can help you have a good night's sleep as we're doing the tapping. If we just want to sit and do some basic EFT, how can that support us with sleep? What does that look like?
Yeah, so you can use EFT for stress, which will affect many things, including your sleep, but you can use EFT directly on sleep. And so what you want to do is you want to have a super clear intention and then tap on that. And so if your problem, for example, is falling asleep rapidly, that would be your intention. Your affirmation would be, I fall asleep rapidly. Now, with EFT, we usually focus on the obstacles and allow those to dissipate and change the energy around that with tapping. So your affirmation would then be, I now release any and every obstacle to falling asleep rapidly. And those obstacles, again, are ones you've been rehearsing for many, many years. You've been not falling asleep and feeling those problems in your body and your mind for many, many years. So you're going to address those directly. You aren't going to pretend they don't exist. You focus on them, but you focus on them, you evoke them, then you let them go. So that's a direct way of using EFT on a particular problem. If your problem is waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to fall back to sleep, then before you go to sleep, just tap and say, I now prepare myself for an untroubled night's sleep. Sometimes I know I'm not going to have a good night's sleep. Like if I'm traveling and I'm changing time zones and there aren't enough hours to have a good night's sleep, I'll tap for that as well. In fact, when I am like going on a long trip, like to Europe, I tap every few hours and move myself psychologically into the current time zone, out of the time zone I've been in. And I find that I've been able to avoid jet lag by doing that. So I move myself progressively into the area I'm in, the zone I'm in, and then I sleep in the rhythm of that time zone immediately. Usually I'm on the new time zone, even if it's 12, 15, 18 hours different, I'm there the first day. So
well, what do you mean by that? Do you just imagine that time? You just notice what time? So, if you're going from, say here I'm Easter time, I'm going to England, I know it's 5 hours difference. Every hour I just, in my mind, tap while I think about it being 2 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock, then 3 o'clock instead of 1 o'clock.
Jessica, what I'll do here is, we hadn't planned this, but if you'd like, we'll have an unannounced bonus, and I'll give you a brief PDF report on how to eliminate jet lag with EFT and other energy therapy techniques. So I'll send that along for the summit.
Because you can't you say that and I'm like, oh, tell me more, tell me everything. I haven't done that before. So yeah, thank you so much for that gift. I'd love that.
It's amazing because literally my wife and I will fly from California to Germany and we'll be totally fine, no jet lag. And then we'll fly back the other direction, no jet lag. And what we do as far as tapping goes, there are a few things besides tapping as well. But like what we'll do is when we're, say, on East Coast time, we'll tap and say, my body is now on East Coast time. So we're in the plane, we traveled 5 hours, we're crossing the Atlantic coast of the US, and we'll tap and put ourselves in that time zone. Then a little bit later, we'll be on Greenland time zone. We'll tap and be on that time zone. So we'll do it 4 or 5 times on the plane on the way there. Then when we get there, we'll tap and say, okay, my body's now on Central European time. And we affirm that. We may do it 2 or 3 times later on that day too. But if you think about that, we've tapped maybe 5 times for 2 minutes. That's 10 minutes to reduce jet lag. I mean, that's a very small investment for a really big gain. And then you're right on that time zone immediately.
We're going to put that bonus inside of the workbook. I think that would be a great thing to have. And this all makes sense. I even want to loop this back to what you said in the very beginning when you said find what works for you when it comes to the hours, because when we have in our brain that it has to be 8 hours and we don't get 8 hours, what happens? We stress. When we have this belief that time changes have to be hard on our body, what happens? We stress. And so we're seeing that it's all the stress and the worry about sleep or lack of sleep that can contribute even more. Even though it's our brain trying to find a solution, it makes the problem worse.
Absolutely, yeah. And my affirmation then, so maybe I go to bed and I'm only going to get 3 hours sleep. And my affirmation then is, I know I'm only going to get 3 hours sleep, and I will wake up feeling completely refreshed, just as though I've got a full night's sleep. I've done that on red eyes several times, red eye flights. I know I'll only get, say, 3 hours sleep or 4 hours sleep, but I affirm I will wake up feeling completely refreshed, and it is amazing. I do. So, again,
that's amazing.
Help.
Dawson,
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you've shared. Any final thought before we wrap up?
One of the genius things about EFT is in the setup statement, the second half of it is, I deeply and completely accept myself, or I deeply and completely love myself. And that is perhaps the biggest stress reduction statement that there ever could be, because we're saying, however things are, my health isn't that great. Money isn't working for me right now. My relationship sucks. My kids are blah, blah, blah. All these things that are always going on. And yet, if you can just tap and say, I completely love and accept myself and my life the way it is, just like it is, and not want it to be different, that by itself will take away the majority of your stress. Like, there are 2 ways to be happy. One is to aspire to get everything you want. The other is to be completely content with exactly what you have. And so EFT is number 2. We just simply let ourselves be the way we are. I didn't get the promotion I wanted. I don't have the money I want. My health isn't the way I prefer. And I deeply love myself right at the place I am, just the way I am. That is such a profound statement, Jessica. We say it thousands of times as we tap. But if you want to reduce stress, that's the fundamental thing to get to, is self-acceptance and acceptance of everything that is just the way it is, because then you are fundamentally happy, and then you have a much more fun and enjoyable life. So don't underestimate this technique. It sounds so simple. Even though I have this problem, I deeply and completely accept myself, but loving yourself just the way you are, loving your life the way it is, even if you aren't getting enough sleep, even if sleep's a problem for you, even if you're suffering deficits and worries in other ways, just come to terms with your life and accept and love yourself. You are lovable exactly the way you are. You are lovable unimproved. If you never fix yourself, you are still fundamentally perfect and lovable. So
yes. Thank you for that reminder.
Feeling that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, we're gonna put some more tapping meditations in the workbook based on that. I think it's important for people to just have an experience without overcomplicating things. Tapping for sleep or sleep challenges, a lot of times they've been following us for years. And so we think, well, it can't be easy and I got to find the perfect setup statement and I have to find the perfect routine. It's like, try the ego meditation, try a tapping meditation. Give yourself the chance, because it is such a forgiving process. And it's amazing when we just give ourselves the freedom to just give it a try, what can happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a good way to leave this, is just use it, be content with the way your life is, use the tapping, and again, don't be impatient for change either. It may take you may find things changing very quickly. Some things will change very fast. Some things may take a while. Be patient with the process there too.
Yeah. Well, at least it's enjoyable, right? We're not like, it's not an hour of agony. We just get to tap and feel good in the moment. So it's a pretty awesome. Dawson, thank you so much for your wisdom, your laugh and sense of humor, all of your insights. It's always so wonderful to speak with you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I love connecting. I love sharing. Thank you.